The burning question on everyone's minds: where'd you get the garbage mitts from?
Those are actually my high school mitts.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've had those since I was in high school. They just made their way back out of the closet, when I came up to Winnipeg. Because hey, they're awesome. They're a well-oiled machine. They're awesome. I love it. I actually wore it yesterday. I went over to Cody Eakin's place. And he looked at me and goes, "You look like you're from here." Right. Yeah, and I love it. He's like, I was like, dude, this is how I dress. I don't know what you're so concerned about. I appreciate that though.
Brand though,
I honestly couldn't tell you what brand they are. I just know the sound they make when you slap them together. you know that sound.
Nate, you guys have not had to deal with the aftermath of losing a hockey game for quite some time. That's a good thing, I imagine. But have you noticed any change in demeanor or approach in the wake of a loss, or business as usual?
Well, it's the first time we've had 2 days in between games in quite a while. I think that it was kind of nice to hit a reset yesterday after what seemed like a long stretch of games. It felt like a business as usual day for us because we haven't had a chance to do this in a long time, where we get a workout in, and be able to get on the ice and have a full practice. I know we're down bones, but it still felt like we got a good work day in today, and it didn't feel like you're in the groundhog day of waking up, practice, game day, and having a little bit different routine today, it's good. It gives a little bit of life in your room.
Yeah, 9-15, and now 5-23, just night and day.
Crazy. Yeah, you stick your head down, you play 9, and all of a sudden you're looking up at this. But I think it's a good spot for our guys, especially over the next 2 weeks, to kind of look at what we want to do going into the break. And I think we've had our head down thinking about, hey, we just got to keep building off this thing, and especially the games are piling up in a good way for us. And I find that these next handful of games before this road trip is it's such a fine line. You always want to go into a break playing well, feeling good about your game, and this is that next bit of that part of our schedule.
It's a weird run here too, where you're seeing, I think the other night was the start of 9 straight against Eastern Conference opponents. It's another weird scheduling clerk. But you guys have played really well against the East this year.
It's weird because I find that every year, the way I look at it is you look at teams and how many times you played them, and you can cross them off. Are we done with that team for the year? There's a lot of teams you look at like, wow, we haven't even sniffed big chunks of the league, and I think that kind of gives you a perspective where you are at this time of year. You're at the halfway point, but a lot of games left to be played, and a lot of good hockey left to be played for our group.
Mike mentioned that, not so many games over. I think it's like 10 games in the next 33 days. Even it's a pretty light schedule for the NHL. Can it work both ways? Obviously you can get healthy, and it can work as a positive. Can it, at times, mess with the mojo of a team?
It depends how well your team, mentally strong your team is, really. If you're playing well and you're playing every other day and you want to keep that rolling, that's a part to be able to keep that going, right? That's being mentally tough enough to keep that going and not needing the practice and seeing it in video and seeing that, hey, this is the way your team has to play every night. The flip side of that is if you're really tough enough and you get the rest in between, then that's the best of both worlds. That's the best of both worlds, being able to get your guys back and healthy and working on things in practice and not overthinking it and guys just go out and play. But hey, the 10-33 is followed up by a meat grinder, in the back half of the year. So you take your rest and you take your time if you can get it, because it's gonna fly by in a heartbeat.
You really haven't practiced that much so far this season, so you'll be doing a lot more of that.
Yeah. Hey, and hopefully, our guys, we get healthy and get ourselves back, and get rid of all the flu and all that stuff that's been rolling around to everybody. It's that time of year, so it's going to be a good time for us.
And I guess this speaks to just how consistent you guys have been. Even your last 2 regulation losses, which were a month apart, you only gave up 2 goals in both those games as well, and now I think you're up to 32 straight. And you're closing in on a piece of history, because I think the Wild have the third. Is that something guys are now aware of, maybe?
It hasn't been talked about in our room. We just talk about how well our goaltenders have played and how well our team defense game is. It's not really just one guy. It's a group of forwards that are committed to it as well. Our centers have done a really great job with our defensemen and our communication in the D zone, and we talk so much about that, and that's such a big part of your game. If you're communicating, you're talking, you're going to have plays that are you're going to have mistakes, but they're going to be a lot quicker to be solved when you guys are talking, communicating on the ice. So like I said, our goaltender's been playing well. We want to keep this thing going because that's kind of been our MO. We look at what our standard is and what our MO is for our team, and that's it. You got to be tough to play against defensively, and we're going to get chances. I think that's the biggest thing about our group is understanding that once we found out we can play stingy, play hard, and play tough defensively and still get our offense, that kind of flicks the light on for a lot of guys. Like, we're going to get this still. We're still going to get our chances. We're still going to have opportunities to score if we play this way.
One more from me, but your defense partner, we know he's having a really nice season on the ice. He was named today to go play in the Manitoba Open golf tournament in August. What can you tell us about his golf game in terms of
It's
what
got to be
you've
money
seen?
up. His golf game's great. It pisses me off because he can play with any clubs. If you give him a pair of left-handed, regular shaft or one that's bent the wrong way, he'll flip it over and hit it. It's just, he's a carny. It's just, it's frustrating because he just started playing left-handed like 4 years ago and he's already better than me. So he was a righty for his first however long his career. Here he is. Yeah. What else do you want to say about your golf game?
Maybe he needs a caddy.
Hey, do you need a caddy? I'd love to be your caddy. The only problem is we wouldn't be talking about golf. Yeah, a lot of good things to say. Just can't say them in front of him.